AEW and Tony Khan just booked this. Well, here we go. AEW Dynamite, January 8th, 2025. And as always, we're going to get straight to the point because there are a few interesting points of this show. But let's start off with the most newsworthy moment of the night, in my opinion. It was the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royale. So you had Powerhouse Hobbs. He has achieved the one of the most significant milestones in his young AEW career, earning the number one contendership spot for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, currently held by Jon Moxley. Hobbs, Moxley, they got plenty of history. In fact, Hobbs previously challenged Moxley for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship on the April 2024 episode of AEW Dynamite, April 24th, 2024. However, in that match, Hobbs, he suffered a leg injury, and that sidelined him for months. Now, Hobbs, he secured this shot by beating Jay White, Hangman Page, Wheeler Yuta, Ricochet, Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, Roderick Strong, Lance Archer, Kyle O'Reilly, and Jeff Jarrett. Now, with this victory, Hobbs will face Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship on next week's episode of Dynamite, Maximum Carnage, that takes place in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is Jon Moxley's hometown. Now, here's the reason why I was so surprised that they booked Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, in this spot. Keep in mind that at their last pay-per-view event, World's End, they booked him in an international championship match against Takeshita. Okay? They presented him in a very strong way leading up to that match. They presented him in a very strong way in that match, yet they had him lose. And the fans were going nuts for him. So while I like the fact that AEW is giving Hobbs even more of a push, and I like the fact that he's going to be in the ring with Jon Moxley and challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship, I do understand fully he's not going to win the championship here, but it's still a very, very good spot for him to be in. He is someone in which I think has WWE potential written all over him. I think he's very, very underutilized in AEW. I don't think they're using him up until recently, up until the last month or so, to his full potential. And so with World's End, with him challenging Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship, putting him in a main event type scene, I hope that this is them trying to get him into a bigger position on the card, a bigger star, if you will, because you have to, if you're a younger guy, if you're a more inexperienced guy, if you're not a more well-known guy, you have to work with top-tier stars in order to get over as a bigger star in the eyes of the fan base. Let's kick it back to the opener. Will Osprey went over Buddy Matthews. In the end, it was, Matthews putting over Osprey after Matthews tried the Rainmaker, only for Osprey to float over with a Styles Clash for a near fall. He then hit the Hidden Blade for the win. Now, post-match, this is where things get interesting. Osprey, he cut a promo and talked about how Matthews is someone that should branch out on his own, that he and Brody King don't need a follower of a leader anymore. They don't need a leader anymore. They need to be on their own, and they can go for the tag team titles or go as a single star, but they don't need Malachi Black, who is reportedly could be finishing up with AEW, if not finished up already. Those in the promotion believe that. That was reported by Sean Ross Sapp tonight. So we will see how that plays out as well. Moving things along, we had Private Party Championship Celebration. Zay and Quinn, they did a segment out on the stage before being cut off by the Hurt Syndicate. MVP said that they liked to party too and stepped over the velvet rope, saying that he was the one to invent this kind of party. MVP said that it was time to raise a toast to Private Party, proposing a toast, but Lashley said here's to the Hurt Syndicate taking the tag team titles. So that led to Bobby Lashley beating Mark Briscoe in a fun match. Now, after the match, Hurt Syndicate started to beat down Briscoe. This led to Private Party coming out. There were still chairs. They had a face-off only for, MVP to hold back Benjamin and Lashley, and they retreated. So for the Nets pay-per-view event, which is Grand Slam in February, it looks like Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, they're going to go after the tag team titles, and they're probably going to win that as well. Here's an interesting segment. So we had Ian Riccaboni in the ring with Double J Jeff Jarrett. And Jeff cut a promo about how while he is, he's upset that he couldn't get a world title shot in Tennessee by not winning the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royale, he will think that he can still has what it takes to take on the AEW World Heavyweight Champion in Jon Moxley. He was then cut up by MJF. MJF came out to the ring, and they went back and forth. And he told Jeff that he's never had the pleasure of meeting him in the ring before and introduces himself. He said he wants his Triple B back, but the world title picture is too crowded right now. MJF said it's Jeff Jarrett's fault that Hobbs won tonight, as he got beat up by Wheeler Yuta. And then MJF stated that there are people like Adam Copeland wanting the AEW World Heavyweight title before putting over Jeff Jarrett. Then Jarrett cut a promo back and forth, babyface promo, after MJF said that Jarrett had only signed a 1-year talent contract with AEW. MJF said that Jarrett didn't want to retire, but the contract that Pro Wrestling thinks is all that Jarrett has left to give. This led to basically Jarrett calling MJF an entitled prick before leaving the ring because MJF had challenged him to a match, but that was not the case. So, interesting segment there by those two. Adam Copeland did a promo in the ring. He basically ran down Jon Moxley. He ran down the Death Riders, talked about how, that heel team has taken good friends away from him, like Bryan Danielson, and gone after good friends like FTR. This led to a brawl. And in the end, it was the Death Riders laying out Copeland and FTR, who had ran out to make the save for Copeland. By the way, Copeland is now going by Cope. This was established last week. So I still don't like that name, but I digress. Powerhouse Hobbs, he ran out. He tried to make the save. And that led to the Death Riders retreat. So it continued the Death Rider storyline with Cope and FTR. It also furthered Powerhouse Will Hobbs' upcoming championship match. So I was fine with that, but it was main event. Really, Kenny Omega made his grand return, cutting a promo in the ring about his road to recovery from diverticulitis. He said that he thought about giving up and thought otherwise because he needed the fans. He found his purpose of wrestling and is only living his best life in the ring and showing the fans the new version of him. Now, Don Callis came out, which led to Omega attacking Callis before Kyle Fletcher, Lance Archer, and Brian Cage came out to attack Omega before Will Osprey ran down and made the save and having a stare down. So they are clearly building to, we're going to get an Osprey Omega match, but first they have to join forces together, take out the Don Callis family, and then we get our singles match. So I'm thinking Double or Nothing maybe. They got a few pay-per-views in between then, but that's where they're going. We'll see where they go from there.